Hello, my name is Amos Tarfa and I am a medical physicist. Hello, my name is Amos Tarfa and I'm a medical physicist by training, but I also run a school called Life STEM Academy, which focuses on equipping students to use the gifts that God has blessed them with to be a blessing to others. We teach math and science, history and English. We provide them with career preparation. We have the 5 C's, we call it. In this series, my students have asked me to talk about logic. We want to do more logic at the school. So in this series, I will be going over lessons from a book called The Return of the God Hypothesis. This is going to be our focus in this video reading series. And my hope is that these videos can be a blessing to people in Nigeria, where I grew up, because they don't have access. Some of them don't have access to some of the books that I will be reading through this series. And as I read through the books, it's also a way for me to actually go over them for the first time sometimes. So basically, I sit here, I read, it helps me because I'm reading through, but then also I can share some of my thoughts as a physicist. Before we dive in, I want to read from Romans chapter 1. I am a Christian and I believe that the Bible is God's word. It's God's instruction. It's what we need to live, but it also has the message of salvation which can be found in Jesus Christ. And I hope that you will join me in this journey of learning the relationship between science and faith and just lessons from books that we read as we go. So I'll read from Romans chapter 1 let's go back to verse 20. It says, "For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened." So it's important to recognize that God made the world. And so in this series in logic, we're going to talk about science, apologetics, philosophy, faith. We want our students to learn to think well and think clearly. One country that did a lot of this type of education, by the way, is Scotland. And you wonder why, we have a lot of leading thinkers from Scotland. And I believe it's because they really emphasize the importance of logic and critical thinking, which we need our students to have today. So welcome to this journey where we'll talk about apologetics, science, and faith. Enjoy as we go through our first book by Dr. Stephen Meyer called The Return of the God Hypothesis.